Romero?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, you are here because you've been charged with assault and criminal damage. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing Douglas Taylor to represent you. Ma'am, I'm going to set bond secured. You're also held on felony charges. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with the alleged victim and do not go to that person's residence or workplace. Your next hearing on this will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll be seen by video by Judge Pesquera. If you were to be released before then, you do need to appear at Justice Court for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
Good luck, ma'am. I don't think I have to. All right, sir at the jail, what's your full name?
Anthony Jesus Para.
Sir, you're here because you've been charged with 4 counts You're not to have any contact with the listed victim, and you are not to go to that person's residence or workplace. Your next court date is January 27th at 1:30 in the afternoon. However, that's a preliminary hearing and it's very likely to change. So please stay in touch with your attorney and pretrial services if you're released from custody, so you know when your court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck, sir.
Happy New Year's.
I mean, you're.
Yeah.
So your attorney is that, I don't know.
Here, and something else. And also, the biggest mistake. This year, I think somebody takes also is that. What's it?
What's the complaint?
Waylon Lee Hinton.
Right, sir, you're here because you've been charged with disorderly conduct. I'm entering a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. Sir, I'm going to release you on your own signature on this charge. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with the alleged victim and do not go to that person's residence or workplace. Your next court date is February 14th at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court. You're currently held on a felony. If you're released from custody before the 14th, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant would issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date, sir?
No, I'm still held though, right?
You're held on a felony, but I'm not holding you. I'm not giving you an additional bond on this.
Okay.
I'm just ordering you to stay away from the victim, okay?
Okay.
All right, good luck, sir.
All right.
Go stand up. Go sit down right next to me. Your Honor,
Yes?
the next three people, we're still waiting for them to be brought to us. Smith, White, and Zapian. So is it all right if we just push them to the end?
Sure. Actually, so it was Smith, White, and Zapian. All right, we'll put those at the end.
As well as Santa Cruz.
All right, and Santa Cruz is 8. All right, I will put those to the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, go stand up. It's here. Where? Right here. Thanks, Chair. Oh, this chair?
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Ricardo Barraza Angulo.
All right, so you're here for a couple different things. First of all, you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court. You failed to appear for arraignment on a charge of theft of means of transportation. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. The warrant lists a bond of $2,500. Pretrial services tells me that you are a level 2 out of 4 for risk for nonviolent felony offenses, and that you are already held on a $15,000 bond in another case. The state's asking for the $2,500 bond that's on the warrant. Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking for a $1,000 bond for time credit. The charge is identified as not violent.
All right. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500 secured. Sir, if you post that, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial. You're not to have any contact with the alleged victims, and you're not to go to their residence or workplace. Your next court date on this is January 22nd at 1:30. That is a arraignment hearing in Superior Court. If you're not in custody, you must appear for that hearing. If you're not there, a warrant will issue. That court date is not going to change like a preliminary hearing does. All right, sir, you are also here on a misdemeanor charge of refusing to provide your truthful name to law enforcement. I'll enter a not guilty plea. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. I'm going to release you on your own signature on that case. Your next court date on that is February 14th at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court. If you are not in custody on the felony, you do need to be there for that hearing or a warrant would issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates, sir?
What's the total bond amount that I need to pay to be released?
From what I can tell, you're held on a $15,000 bond in your other case, and I've added 1,500, so that makes it 16,500.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
Yes. You see this?
It's the initial feelings. For an older case.
Ma'am, what's your full name?
Margaret Alice Hall.
So ma'am, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court. It looks like you were indicted by the grand jury and they issued a warrant for charges of possession of a dangerous drug, possession of a narcotic drug, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me that you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses and you have a probation hold. The state's asking for a $1,000 bond, which is the amount on the warrant. Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking for a $500 bond for time credit.
All right, I do think that's appropriate. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $500 secured. If you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. Your next court date on this is an arraignment hearing on January 22nd at 1:30 at Pima County Superior Court. If you're not in custody, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant would issue. It's not a preliminary hearing and that court date's not going to change. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
All right, good luck, ma'am.
So there.
Bro. Sit down right here.
Give me one moment.
Brown brother.
All right, so sir, you're here on a couple different things. City court, you have a warrant. It looks like there's a petition to revoke probation pending against you in a 2018 case and you failed to appear for court. You also have charges of shoplifting and failure to appear. having an animal at large and failure to appear, a criminal damage, theft, 2 more counts of failure to appear, driving on a suspended license, possession of drug paraphernalia, and failure to appear. On all of those cases, I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. You also have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you failed to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could also be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. I also have to warn you that if you're convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. Sir, on these cases, I'm going to set bond in the amount.
Your Honor, can I say something, please?
Sir, anything,
Please, Your Honor.
please hear me for a minute. Anything you say right now can be used against you. So please,
Okay.
so please do not talk about the offenses themselves, what you're charged with. But if you want to talk to me about other things, I'm happy to listen.
Yes, Your Honor. Please listen. I really gotta get home. I have a daughter and 2 dogs I have to look after. If you understand me, I promise I will make it to my next hearing. Please work with me. I don't want to leave my daughter at home like that. I really just want to get back to her, please, Your Honor.
All right, sir, I
Please, Your Honor, work with me, please.
Sir, you need to stop, please. I hear what you're saying and I am sympathetic, but you have been failing to come to court repeatedly
Your Honor.
since
Your Honor,
2019, it looks like.
I understand, Your Honor, but please, Your Honor, trust me. I really need to get home, please, Your Honor. If you could please understand that tonight, please. I promise, though. I promise I'm gonna attend my next court date. Work with me, please, Your Honor, please.
No, the answer is no. You,
And why not? Why not, Your Honor?
sir, the answer is no. You have cases from 2019, from 6 years ago, that you have literally never come to court on, not even one time. I cannot release you on these. So I'm going to set a $500 bond secured on the pending cases, the unadjudicated cases. And I'm going to order that you do not drive unless you have a valid driver's license. Do not possess or consume any alcohol. Do not go back to the incident location. Do not have any contact with listed victims and do not go back to their residence. And do not possess, oh, I already did that, consume any alcohol or legal drugs. Sir, on these, your next court dates. Where did that go? Your next court date, if you are in custody, is a video review. That will be January 24th at 1:45 p.m. And if you are released from custody before then, your court date changes to February 20th at 9:30 in the morning with Judge Verena. You must appear for that hearing. I am going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. On the probation violation case, I'm going to set an additional bond of $500. So your total is $1,000. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And your next court date on that, if you're in custody, is going to be January 24th at 1:45 p.m. If you are released from custody before then, your court date changes to February 20th at 9:30 in the morning. All right, sir, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date in that case, those cases?
I don't.
All right, before you go away, hold on, you've got cases in another court. You also have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court. It looks like the charge is driving on a suspended license and failure to appear. On that case, I'll enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to an attorney, but not necessarily at court expense. I'm going to release you on that case and order that you do not drive without a valid driver's license. Your next court date on that one is February 14th at 8:30 in the morning. If you're not in custody, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date in that case?
Not.
All right, good luck, sir.
I'm gonna sit outside, sit with the males. Go back.
All right, sir, what's your full name?
Christopher Miguel Cota.
All right, sir, you are here on a couple different things. In Tucson City Court, it looks like you have a petition to revoke probation pending. And you have a unresolved case of criminal damage as a domestic violence offense. And you failed to appear on both of those. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I am going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And I'm entering a not guilty plea for you. Let's see. It looks like there's an amended PTR that you have not been arraigned on. But I don't have a copy of that. Oh, it's not going to be filed until you're arrested. So it has not been filed yet. All right, so sir, I am going to set a $250 secured bond on the pending case. I'm going to order in that case that you do not commit any acts of domestic violence, and do not have any contact with the listed victim, and do not go to the victim's residence or workplace. Your next court date on this is January 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon with Judge Million. You must appear for that hearing. If you're not there, a warrant will issue, and you could also be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried in your absence, and if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could also lose your right to appeal. Sir, I'm also required to inform you that if you're convicted of a crime, it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. Sir, I'm also going to set a $250 bond, so the total is $500 on the petition to revoke probation. And I'm going to appoint the public defender's office. I'm going to set the same court date.
May I say something, ma'am?
Sir, anything you say about can be used against you. So do not talk about the charges themselves, but if there's something else you want to tell me, I'm happy to hear.
The second one, not the revoke probation, the other one, what's that one?
It's a case from 2019. You're charged with criminal damage as a domestic violence offense.
I think they dropped that when I went to court the last time.
I have
What the,
sir, I have the file here and there's nothing in there dropping the case. It looks like you failed to appear for court December 11th of 2019 and you had a warrant ever since. All right, let's see. All right, sir, do you have any questions about your court date or your release conditions?
Oh, man.
Right. Oh, I'm also going to order that you follow all conditions of probation, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Good luck,
You're
sir.
welcome.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. He's got a misdemeanor, a justice court case as well. I apologize, sir. You also have a case in justice court. Looks like you were charged with threatening and refusing to provide your name to law enforcement in 2021. And you failed to appear, warrant issued in 2021. Sir, on that case, I am going to set an additional bond of $250 secured. If you post that bond, sir, you need to have no contact with the listed victim and do not go to their residence or workplace. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney on that case. I'm going to appoint Caitlin Waters to represent you. Her name and phone number will be in your paperwork. Your next court date on this is January 16th, which is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon with Judge Pescara. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're released from custody before then, sir, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Do you have any questions, sir?
Oh, man.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Tarzan?
Hi, ma'am. What's your full name?
Bertha Bejarano Garza.
Right, ma'am, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court for failure to appear on a charge of possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. Ma'am, I am going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you appear on February 14th at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court. If you're not there, ma'am, a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And that's February 14th?
Yep, Valentine's Day. You'll get it in writing, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Just
You know what?
a few minutes. I
Carmella? Carmel?
Not the competition, yeah.
Sit down, yeah.
Oh, I don't need to do that. Okay. Making sure. All right, sir, what's your full name?
Mike Scaramella.
All right, sir, you are here. You have 4 warrants. My understanding is that each of them charges you with interfering with judicial proceedings. And I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. It looks like you have previously retained Gerald Maltz in 3 of these cases, and he remains counsel of record.
Ma'am,
You previously retained Michael Vingelli in the other case, and he remains counsel of record.
Ma'am, may the victim speak? May the victim speak today?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was,
Sir, I haven't got to you yet. Just give me a moment.
okay, I'm so sorry, because, yes, I'll keep notes, sorry.
It's okay.
That sounds like Ray Carroll.
Hold on, just everybody hold on a second. So, sir, I just went over what you're charged with. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm not going to appoint counsel because you've already retained counsel on all 4 cases, okay? At this point, if there's a listed victim on, sir, you can, if you can give me your name and tell me whatever you'd like for me to know tonight.
My name is Ray.
Sir, you need to, hold on, I'm sorry.
My name is Ray.
Hold on,
My
hold on.
name is, oh,
Sorry, this is really hard by phone. Mr. Scarmella, I need you to remain silent until the listed victim speaking. If you need to address me, you'll get a chance to do that, but we need to take turns, okay? All right, Mr. Carroll, go ahead.
ma'am, thank you for allowing me to appear telephonically. I drove up from Green Valley, but I'm here in Tucson. I really appreciate the chance to tell you a few things. Number one, there was a typo. His defense attorney is not Vingelli or Maltz. Those were attorneys that were not his. Those were victims' attorneys. I'm sorry. He's not. I'm the victim. My wife. There's three other cases. So pardon me. Well, I just wanted to make sure that I would be heard today. He has from the sheriff's department. I got a call today.
Okay, so sir,
No ROR.
before you go any further, let me just check with the clerk here about the attorneys. Were those attorneys the victims' attorneys? All right, I'm just gonna, right, he's saying that those people represent the victims, not the defendant. So we're just gonna double check the file. If that's the case, then Mr. Scarmelli, I'll appoint counsel for you at that time. All right, Mr. Carroll, go ahead, please.
And he four warrants on you mentioned, but the sheriff's deputy who lieutenant called me today explained to me that these are not ROR. He has to be remaining in jail to be seen by Judge Davis to be put back on supervised probation. There's no ROR and there's no release according to the sheriff's representative that contacted my wife and I today just at 3:30.
I just want to
putting that in the
let you know that that's not legally accurate. The judge who presides over the initial appearance by statute is the person who decides release conditions. I have recommendations from the judge who issued the warrant, but ultimately it is my decision.
Well, thank you. I just understood there was no ROR or no pretrial hold for Judge Davis because of the 2499 on the free bond. That was to hold him until he could put him back on supervised probation. Mr. Caramella currently was an appeal. He lost his appeal, and then he failed to appear at the hearing, which was scheduled with Judge Davis to put him back on supervised probation back on 9/25/2024. I was represented by Gerald Maltz at that case.
Okay.
That's why I know I'm represented by him. The appeal was denied and the matter was returned to justice court for affirmation of sentencing and putting him back on supervised probation and post, but the defendant failed to appear and a warrant was issued. He's been off now, and that's my statement. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Sir, I appreciate your input, especially since you clarified some things that we had incorrect. So I do appreciate that. All right, Mr. Scarman. Sir, you indicated earlier that you wanted to speak, I think. I want to be very clear that anything you say can be used against you. You should not talk about the charges themselves, but if there's something else that you want to talk to me about, I'm happy to hear you.
No, I wasn't interested in the charges. I just wanted to know who the judge was that signed those warrants.
It looked like Vince Robert signed 3 of them and Judge Ball signed the other one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
If I may speak again, I'm sorry to do this. The John Davis ordered the warrants. He's a superior court judge that was put on this case because there was a conflict between the justice. So I just wanted to let you know that's the record that I have. It's not.
Conflict was they couldn't get a crooked judge in justice court to do it.
Mr. Scarmella, please. So, sir, I have copies of the warrants. I'm looking at them. They were signed by the judges that I listed, and they were signed on September 26th of 2024 for 3 of them, and one of them June 13th of 2023.
Yes, Your Honor, Judge Davis has been retired for 12 years from Superior Court. I have no idea why he was in justice court.
Sir, I don't know that retired judges often fill in as pro tems when there's conflicts and things like that. I don't know, that could be it. All right, so Mr. Taylor, on these charges, On the case that was previously already adjudicated, which is CR 22009491. On that case, sir, I am going to impose a bond of $2,500 secured. And I am going to appoint Douglas Taylor to represent you. I am ordering that you follow all court orders as a condition of release. On the other 3 cases, which appear to have not been adjudicated yet, I'm setting a bond of $1,000 secured on each of them. So your total becomes $5,500. I am going to appoint Douglas Taylor on those as well. And again, I'm going to order that you follow all court orders. I am going to set a court date on all 4 cases of tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're in custody, you will be seen by video. If you're out of custody, sir, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates? Mr. Scarmella, do you have any questions about your court dates or your release conditions?
No, that's okay. Thanks.
Mr. Carroll, do you have any questions about anything I did tonight?
No, ma'am. I understand though that he has these. I'm sorry that I mistook on the fact that they were signed by Vince Roberts, but truly, Judge Davis was the judge in these cases. I'm the victim, my wife and I, and some others. But
Yeah,
pardon me. If did note though.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Well, there's the 2499 bond. I was just hoping that we could get him back on supervised probation. I want Mr. Scaramella to get some help. I need him back. Ricardo Chapman and all of us were there, and he did not. He's been not in good contact with attorneys. So,
sir, I understand. What I did is I set bond, if you add them all up on the 4 cases, at $5,500. That's the amount that I feel is appropriate. And he has a court date tomorrow in justice court. I don't know anything about Judge Davis his involvement in any way, shape, or form. All I have is a copy of the warrant. Person who signed it may not necessarily be the assigned judge. I don't know.
Here, of course, because of the conflict of between myself and the court, because I'm obviously working in the court. So again, I appreciate your time. I really do. I look forward to retaining counsel again and trying to get to the 1 o'clock. I'm a victim that I appreciate your chance to talk today. Is there anything more that I can clarify? Just that I was hoping that we could hold him until he could be put back on supervised probation. Possibly that could happen as soon as tomorrow. I will call his probation officer in the morning.
I don't have authority to hold him without bond on a misdemeanor charge.
But I do want you to know he's supposed to be held until, so I'll try to get some input from his probation officer by tomorrow for the case. But I do appreciate being able to come to Tucson and being able to be appearing today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good luck to both of you. Ma'am, what's your full name?
Jennifer Norby.
All right, ma'am, you are here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court. The charge is aggravated assault. I'll enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the legal defender's office to represent you. It looks like you have never been seen before on this matter. It must have been, I see. So there was a grand jury indictment, a summons was sent. I don't have any information regarding service of that summons, and the warrant issued when you failed to appear. Pretrial services is telling me that you are in the lowest risk category for violent felony offenses. The warrant lists a $7,500 bond, and the state is asking that I impose that bond. Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Ms. Norby's released to pretrial services. The address that she was able to look at the address that the summons went to, and that's an address that she's never used. So that's why she never received notice of this. So now that she's aware of it, she knows she has to go to court. She knows she needs to be in touch with her attorney. She is fully employed. She's been with the same employer for a few years now. If she were released, she'd go home. And again, Judge, just to emphasize that she never received notice of this. Now that she is aware, she does agree that she needs to come to court. She'll stay in touch with her attorney. So we're asking for an opportunity on pretrial for Ms. Norby.
All right, it appears the state thought that it was appropriate for her to remain out of custody in the first place. That's why they sent a summons. And given that she is the lowest risk level available on the pretrial services scales, and that this is from June, and she apparently hasn't had law enforcement contact in a long time, or she would have been arrested on this previously. I am going to release her to pretrial services. Ma'am, I'm ordering that you do not have any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. You're not to have any contact with any listed victim, and you cannot go to their residence or workplace. Your next court date on this is January 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. Ma'am, that's an arraignment hearing, not a preliminary hearing. That means that court date's not going to change. You must appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Good luck, ma'am.
Thanks, Judge.
So have a seat up there on the female side.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Our next person is the Spanish speaker.
Okay, thank you.
And Hernandez is gonna want to answer as well.
Hernandez is gonna want to answer as well.
All right.
Yeah.
I have
And
two people listed as Spanish speakers, Jose Hernandez and Luis Martinez.
yes, that's correct.
Thank you. All right, and the interpreter on?
Interpreter's present, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. Sir, what is your full name?
Señor, diga su nombre completo.
Luis Fernando Martínez Robles.
Luis Fernando Martínez Robles.
Sir, you're here because you were arrested for possession of a narcotic drug and exceeding the speed limit by more than 20 miles an hour.
Está usted aquí, señor, porque usted fue arrestado por posesión de una droga narcótica y de exceder el límite de velocidad más de 20 millas por hora.
The state has moved to dismiss the charges without prejudice.
El Estado está pidiendo desestimar los cargos sin prejuicio.
I am going to dismiss the charges.
Voy a retirar los cargos.
Sir, that may mean that they've decided not to charge you at all.
Señor, eso quizá significa que han decidido no presentarle cargos para nada.
But it may also mean that they're waiting for some piece of evidence and then they do plan to charge you.
Pero también puede significar que están esperando un tipo de evidencia y luego tramitar los cargos de nuevo.
For example, they may be waiting for test results.
Por ejemplo, están esperando para resultados de exámenes.
They have 7 years to charge you with a felony.
Tienen 7 años para presentarle un delito mayor.
I strongly recommend that you check your mail and that you forward your mail with the post office if you move.
Le recomiendo enfáticamente que usted cheque su correo y si acaso se muda, por favor ponga un correo a donde va a recibir correo en el futuro.
That way, if they do refile the charges and they send you a summons, you'll receive it and come to court.
De esta manera, si ellos vuelven a tramitar los cargos y le mandan una citación por correo, se puede presentar.
If you miss court, you'll receive a warrant.
Y si falta de presentarse al tribunal, emiten una orden de arresto en su nombre. ¿Tiene preguntas, señor?
Sí, va a salir, ¿no?
Yes, I'm going to get out, right?
Yes, you're going to be released on this today.
Sí, va a ser liberado de esto hoy día.
All right, good luck, sir.
Muy bien, buena suerte, señor.
Comments? Leslie and Rose. One moment. And go ahead and sit down on the bed. Okay, this one sit right here. You go.
Vale.
Release. Yeah. Sit down.
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Muy bien, señor, ¿qué es su nombre completo?
Mi nombre completo es José Antonio Hernández.
My complete name is José Antonio Hernández.
Sir, you are here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court.
Señor, está usted aquí porque hay una orden de arresto en su nombre del Tribunal Superior del Condado de Pima.
You're charged with, sorry, it's a very long indictment. Give me one moment.
Tiene cargos de perdón. Es una acusación bien larga. Permítame un momento.
Looks like you have 15 counts of money laundering,
Parece que tiene 15 cargos de lavado de dinero,
16 counts of use of a wire communication for a drug-related transaction,
16 cargos para el uso de un dispositivo alámbrico para comunicación para tránsito de drogas,
4 counts of transportation for sale of a narcotic drug,
4 cargos de transporte de una droga narcótica destinado para la venta
and 1 count of illegally conducting an enterprise.
y un cargo de ilícitamente conduciendo una empresa.
I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you.
Voy a aceptarle declaraciones de no culpable de su parte.
You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney.
Tiene derecho de guardar silencio y derecho a un abogado.
I'm appointing Dan South to represent you.
Le estoy nombrando, asignando el abogado Dan South a que lo represente.
His name and case number will be in your, his name and phone number will be in your paperwork.
El nombre de él y el número del caso, no, perdón, el nombre de él y el número de su teléfono va a estar en el papeleo que le demos.
The pretrial services is telling me that you are in the lowest risk category on their assessments.
Los servicios preprocesales me informan que usted está en el nivel más bajo de la evaluación que ellos realizaron de usted.
The warrant lists a bond of $75,000.
La orden de arresto indica una fianza de $75,000.
The state is asking that I impose that bond.
El Estado está pidiendo que yo le imponga.
From the Attorney General's office.
I
had sent over.
Hold on. The interpreter didn't finish interpreting before you started speaking, ma'am.
El Estado está pidiendo que yo le imponga esa fianza también. Okay.
Okay. Interpreter, did you finish interpreting? I'm sorry, I just want to check.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you identify yourself again?
Yes, Nanette Morrow with the Attorney General's office. I had emailed over our pretrial recommendation to allow him to be released to pretrial.
Hold on. The interpreter has to interpret, so if you can speak in smaller sections, that would be helpful.
Okay, interpreter's going to continue. La Procuradora General, Nanette Morrow, dice que envió un correo electrónico con sus recomendaciones al juez. Go ahead.
To be released to pretrial services.
Para ser liberado bajo la supervisión de los servicios preprocesales.
My agents confirmed that this defendant has to receive daily dialysis machine, treatments.
Los agentes me indican que este acusado debe recibir tratamientos al diario de diálisis.
So based on his medical history, we felt it was most appropriate that he be released to pretrial.
Y conforme a su historial médico, pensamos que era más apropiado que él sea liberado bajo la supervisión de los servicios preprocesales.
Thank you for that, ma'am.
Gracias por esa información, señora.
So, sir, it looks like the county attorney had originally looked at this and recommended the $75,000 bond.
Yes, and I'm retracting that.
Yeah, I'm going to explain that to him, sir. Hold on.
Sí,
Keep
parece
interrupting
que,
the court interpreter.
sí parece que el procurador del condado había recomendado una fianza de $75,000. Y el abogado entonces interrumpió y dijo, sí, quisiéramos retirar esa solicitud.
Right. But the agency that's actually prosecuting you, the Attorney General's office, is recommending pretrial services release.
Pero la agencia que de hecho lo están procesando, la oficina del Procurador General, está recomendando que usted sea liberado bajo la supervisión de los servicios preprocesales.
So that's the recommendation that I'm considering.
Entonces, esa es la recomendación que estoy considerando.
All right, so sir, I am going to release you to pretrial services.
Entonces, yo lo voy a liberar bajo la supervisión de los servicios preprocesales.
You're not to have any alcohol or illegal drugs.
Se le prohíbe tener alcohol o drogas ilegales.
No firearms or weapons.
Nada de armas de fuego ni otras armas.
And you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services.
Y deberá someterse a cualquier tratamiento o monitoreo que los servicios preprocesales le pidan que haga.
All right, your next court date is January 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Su siguiente audiencia es el 22 de enero a la 1:30 de la tarde.
That is an arraignment at Pima County Superior Court.
Esa es la lectura de cargos en el Tribunal Superior del Condado de Pima.
That court date is not going to change.
Esta fecha de audiencia no cambiará.
You must appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue.
Debe presentarse para esa audiencia o si no se emitirá una orden de arresto en su nombre.
Sir, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Señor, ¿tiene preguntas sobre sus condiciones de liberación o su fecha de audiencia?
No, Judge.
Dice que no, su señoría.
Good luck, sir. Thank you. And thank you, Mr.
Buena
Rowe,
suerte,
for
señor.
appearing.
Gracias, señor, y buena suerte.
And thank you to the interpreter as well. You can be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good night.
Good night. Sorry? Who is the county attorney? Oh, I think it's Mr. Hotchkiss. Is it? Yes, it's Mr. Hotchkiss. Yes, Mr. Hotchkiss.
Leslie. Going right there.
All right, sir, what's your full name?
Good evening, Your Honor. My name is Landon Ellis Leslie.
Wow, all right, I have the wrong file. Give me one moment here. Let's leave. All right. All right, sir, you're here because you've been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me you are in the lowest risk category for violent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $15,000 bond. Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Leslie's released to pretrial services. He's a vet and he is 100% disabled. He gets services at the VA. He has lifelong ties to Tucson, no criminal history, and if he were released, he'd go home. So we're asking for an opportunity for him on pretrial services.
These are the hardest cases for me when someone has no criminal history and is the lowest possible risk score on all the assessments, but their offense involves firearms and violent conduct. Is he actively involved in services from the VA?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, yes, Your Honor. Sorry.
All right. Sir, I am going to give you a chance on pretrial services release.
Thank you so much.
I want, but I would be clear about a couple conditions, okay? No alcohol or illegal drugs. You absolutely cannot possess any firearms or any weapons, okay? So by weapons, if you're eating dinner at the kitchen table with a steak knife, it's not a weapon, it's something you're eating with. But if you're walking around town with a knife in your pocket, that is a weapon, okay? So no weapons at all.
Okay.
You must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services, and I'm going to order that you continue with your treatment through the VA.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your next court date on this is going to be February 4th at 1:30 in the afternoon. However, that is a preliminary hearing. It is very likely to change, so make sure you stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services. That way you'll know when your court date is. If you miss it, you'll get a warrant. Do you have any,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Just want to say thank you, Your Honor, for giving me a chance. Honestly, thank you so much. Like, it really means a lot to me. Just so I can see my dogs. That's all I care about at this point. I just want to see my dogs. I don't really care about. I'm sorry. Oh, shit.
All right, sir, just prove that I'm right, okay?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
One other condition I forgot to mention, I apologize. I am ordering that you don't have any contact with the listed victim and that you don't go to that person's residence or workplace, okay?
Absolutely. Excellent.
Good luck, sir. And thank you for your service.
No, thank you very much for your service.
So you can go back up to the table.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just a couple hours that you'll finish.
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Jeff William Rose.
So, sir, you are here on a couple different things. First of all, you are charged with burglary as a felony offense. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. On that case, pretrial services is telling me that you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $500 bond. Defense counsel.
Judge, I'd like to argue probable cause.
All right, go ahead.
Judge, this was charged as a burglary, and it says because alcohol can't be served or can't be sold at 5:30. However, even at 5:30, Circle K is open to the public. So we're asking that this is dismissed because it was not a burglary.
All right, so I think that there is probable cause for burglary on the basis that he entered a secured locked cooler. And that is what makes it a burglary, not the entrance into the Circle K. So I'm going to find probable cause. Do you want to be heard on release conditions?
Yes, Judge. If you're inclined to release him on the misdemeanors, we're asking that he's released to pretrial services on the felony as well. These were identified as nonviolent felonies. He has ties to Tucson. He has no felony history, I believe. And if he were released, he'd go to his friend's house. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services if you're inclined to release him on the misdemeanors as well.
All right. Give me one moment to review those misdemeanors. All All right, so I'll note for the record, the defendant has no felony criminal history, and this is a non-violent offense. However, he is a very high risk on the failure to appear scale and also a fairly high risk on the new criminal activity scale. He does not have an NVCA flag. My biggest concern is his failures to appear. All right, sir, I'm going to give you one chance on pretrial services release. So on the felony, you are released to pretrial services. You're not to have any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. Your next court date on this one is February 4th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that court date is very likely to change. You need to stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial so that you know when your court date is. If you miss it, you will receive a warrant. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Then, sir, you also have a warrant out of South Tucson Municipal Court for a charge of shoplifting. I will release you on your own signature for that case. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. Your next court date on that one is January 28th at 10 o'clock in the morning. Sir, you need to appear for that hearing. If you're not there, they will issue another warrant for you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Sure.
And on that case, if I didn't say it, you do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. All right, sir. Then you have a couple different things in Tucson City Court. First of all, you have a warrant on a case where you were placed on probation in 2021 for 12 months. You didn't turn in the required proofs, and so the court issued an order to show cause. When you didn't appear, a warrant issued. However, the state never filed a petition to revoke probation, which means your probation has expired. So at this point, I'm going to order that probation has expired. All proofs in that case are waived. You do not have any future court dates in that case. However, sir, if you owe money, you need to appear for that. Sorry, if you owe money, you need to be making payments. If you're not making payments, it's in collections and the amount you owe is going up every day. So you need to get yourself on a payment plan on that one.
Judge, just for clarity, there's no court date for city court then,
So there's
correct?
going to be a city court date because there's two other city court cases, but on this one, on the TR 20027988, their probation's expired, proofs are waived, no future court dates on that one. Then, sir, in Tucson City Court, you have two pending cases. You have new charges of being in a park after hours, and you were previously charged with shoplifting, criminal damage, and failure to appear. On those charges, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. You also have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you don't appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. I'm also required to tell you that if you are convicted of a crime, there may be collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. On this case, I'm going to release you on your own signature. And I am setting a court date of February 12th at 9 a.m. before Judge Hale at Tucson City Court. You must appear for that hearing. Sir, I'm also ordering that you do not go back to the incident location on these cases. So you have three separate court dates, and the attorney there with you today is writing them all down for you. Sir, you need to be at all of your court dates or a warrant will issue, okay?
Sure.
Do you have any questions about your release conditions or court date?
Sure.
Good luck, sir.
There we go.
Do we have,
I still have the 4 that were not available at the beginning of the calendar.
Judge, I believe Mr. Santa Cruz is the last felony.
Okay. If Mr. Santa Cruz is there and we could take care of him, that'd be great.
Oh, okay. This is Mr. Santa.
Oh, okay. Sir, what's your full name?
Avante Daniel Smith.
All right. Sir, you are here because you've been charged with criminal damage, disorderly conduct, and another count of disorderly conduct that are all domestic violence offenses. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services is telling me that you are a level 2 out of 4 for risk assessment, but that you are in custody serving a misdemeanor probation violation sentence. It's my understanding that there's a victim on the line who wanted to be heard. Is there someone there? No. All right. Someone called and said they were going to appear, but I don't see anyone actually appearing. All right, sir, on these cases, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. Like I said, I'm appointing the public defender's office. You also have the right to be present for all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could also lose your right to appeal. I'm also required to warn you that if you are convicted of a criminal offense, that it may have collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. On this case, sir, I'm entering a not guilty plea. I'm setting bond in the amount of $500 secured. I'm ordering that you do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, do not commit any acts of domestic violence, do not have any contact with, I don't know if it's Javier or Xavier Conroe, and do not go to that person's residence or workplace. I'm also ordering that you follow all, no, you're not on probation anymore. Let me take that off. All right, and then sir, on this, your next court date is January 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon, and Judge Millian will see you by video. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates?
No.
All right, good luck, sir.
Stand up.
I'm switching back and forth between misdemeanors and felonies. How did you call them misdemeanors? I have different things that I keep defaulting to the wrong thing. Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Yeah, Antonio Santa Cruz.
All right, sir. You are here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court. You're charged with 4 counts of burglary, 4 counts of organized retail theft, 2 counts of robbery, 1 count of armed robbery, and 1 count of theft. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Give me one moment here. It looks like you were arrested on this in December and you were held on a $7,500 bond, but the case was dismissed and refiled. And a warrant issued at the time of the indictment. It also looks to me like you are in custody on other charges. Looks like probation violation and unadjudicated charges. Pretrial services tells me you're in the highest risk category for violent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $20,000 bond. The warrant actually had a $5,000 bond on it. Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking for a $3,000 bond for Mr. Santa Cruz for time credit. Also considering that it looks like it was dismissed and refiled possibly a couple times. And it was such a short period of time between it was refiled and now. So we're asking for a $3,000 bond for time credit for Mr. Santa Cruz.
All right, sir, I'm going to set the same bond that was set at your initial hearing of $7,500 secured. If you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. You're not to have any contact with any listed victims, and you are not to go to their residence or workplace. Sir, your next court date on this is January 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon at Pima County Superior Court. That is an arraignment hearing, not a preliminary hearing. That means that the court date's not going to change. If you're not in custody, you need to be there or a warrant would issue. Do you have any questions, sir?
No.
Give me just 1 second here. All right, so, sir, good luck. And you're all set. Thank you.
Judge, I believe that was the last felony. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Hotchkiss, you can be excused as well if you'd like.
We're gonna have a good night.
Good night. Sir, what's your full name?
Juan Zapien Juvenal Gomez.
All right, sir, you are here because you are charged with criminal trespass. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. You have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could also be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. Sir, I'm also required to warn you that if you are convicted of a crime, there may be collateral consequences, including but not limited to immigration consequences. Sir, you're already being held on a felony. I'm not changing that, but I am going to release you on your own signature on this case. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. And I'm setting a non-transport review on February 28th at 9 o'clock in the morning at Tucson City Court with Judge Klotz. You must appear for that hearing if you're not in custody or a warrant could issue. If you're in custody, your attorney will appear for you at that hearing. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
All right, good luck, sir.
All right, thank you. Can you get a sandwich?
So like,
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Willie Lee White.
Sir, you're here because you've been charged with disorderly conduct. I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. Sir, you're being held on a felony and I can't change that, but I am releasing you on your own signature on the misdemeanor charge. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with the alleged victim and do not go to that person's residence or workplace. Your next court date on this case is February 14th at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court. If you're not in custody, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date, sir?
You said February 14th?
At 8:30 in the morning, and you will get that in writing.
All right.
All right.
No, I don't.
All right, good luck, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our calendar. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
thank you, Your Honor.